if you already have a business and I would not say this advice is for aspiring entrepreneurs. If you've already made the plunge and you're working on creating something, I really do think going back to what we said in the beginning, know your audience, define that clearly, be dogmatic in the way that you approach them and go after them and go serve them well, like create great value for them. But it starts with knowing who they are.
Entrepreneurs, we're diving into the local growth formula with Ross McDaniel. He's the founder over at Fencepost. They do a lot of great work to help businesses grow their revenue by increasing visibility and connecting with more high quality customers. Ross, thank you so much for stopping by that entrepreneur show.
And thanks for having me. I'm excited to get into it.
I'm excited as well, everyone. We have another great entrepreneurial journey to share. He's going to dive into what got him to where he is today, tips for success, and everything in between. But if it's your first time with us, I have to welcome you. If you're a continued listener or viewer, thank you for joining us again and helping make this show a top 2.5% global podcast. We have great guests like Ross join me each week, and I can't do it without you tuning in to join us. The show is brought to you by JohnFord.com. He has his new empathy card set and app in the App Store, so check him out. And of course, Coming Alive Podcast Production.com. Ross, I like to dive into this show in phases, starting with the first phase. Why'd you become an entrepreneur?
Great question. I became an entrepreneur almost out of necessity. I think that's a lot of people's stories when they're starting out. For me, my wife and I were young marrieds about 11 years ago. I was working for the whopping salary of free dollars as an intern at an agency while wrapping up some school. And after I graduated, the pay raise wasn't immense. Let's put it that way. And so we had to supplement. We had student loans. She wasn't making a ton of money, and so we just started hustling. And my area of hustle was Google Ads. It was a way that we could bring a lot of value to other businesses, and found a lot of success and skill in that field. And so that quickly evolved. And I would say, everybody starting out, it's either a necessity thing or it's a hobby thing. And for me, I feel like it was a little bit of both. And the hobby and necessity turned into a passion and a business.
I got to ask, what originally attracted you to the Google Ads space?
I think it was a natural transition because of the agency life. And, in a small
Okay.
agency, especially a small digital agency 12 years ago, everybody wore a lot of hats. And one of the hats I was wearing at the time was paid ads. But paid ads really just included Google ads. Facebook wasn't out yet. TikTok didn't even exist, stuff like that. So that's happenstance. It's a boring answer.
It's not a boring answer to me because I love how you're highlighting just go with what comes to you. Don't force something. You have
That's right.
something in front of you, and instead of trying to find happiness or success in a different place, I'm challenging you and using the rest of Ross's story you will learn today to look at the skills you have right in front of you, and you never know where it could take you because now his companies help generate over 25,000 qualified new leads, tons of five-star reviews. What are some tips you can give to companies to attract these correct clients where, hey, we're going to earn reviews, we're going to be able to do a good job because we're in the right place?
Very first thing is know your audience. I think so often, especially in knowledge-based businesses, people want to be all things to all people. And even if you're a roofer, and knowing your audience matters. Do you want to do retail roofs or do you want to do insurance roofs as well? Well, what if you became the specialty tile roofer or the metal roofer? I mean, the more you niche and more you narrow, the more you clearly define who you're serving, the more easy it will be for you to market, but also for your customers to say yes to you.
And that's the name of the game. If we're swimming in the wrong pond, we're not really going to find as much success as we like. And of course, as entrepreneurs, it doesn't happen overnight. So we want to be doing the things we can to set ourselves up for success. Can we talk a little bit about another area I know you have some expertise in? Passive and active referral systems. First, what is the difference? And then we'll talk into the pros and cons.
Well, The difference is in the terminology there because everybody has a passive referral system. If you are a human that sells his wares, somebody is familiar with you and has said, "Oh, I've worked with so and so before." That right there is a referral, and that's what we would call a passive referral system, where you're not really engaged in it. You just have customers, and sometimes the customers pass off your name or your business name to somebody that might need something similar. An active referral system is when we are intentionally seeking and measuring new customers through our current customer base. And so what we want to do there is we want to really understand who our customer base is, understand what happens to them after they engage with you, and then figure out ways to incentivize them, not in a way that feels transactional, but incentivize them to help sell your business for you.
I absolutely love that, not making it transactional. And you go on LinkedIn, which makes it hard for anybody else to sell because you're getting these messages that are just first thing transactional for me. And I get a LinkedIn request. I say, hey, here's my calendar. Let's see how we can help each other. I'll risk the 10 minutes to see if there's actually a fit there. Excellent, excellent points there. Do you have perhaps a tip or two you can give to us to help not formulate a transactional push? Maybe we don't even realize we're sounding transactional.
Yeah, one thing, it's a book I highly recommend, Giftology by the late John Ruhlin. He outlined a really great philosophy on gifting, where we have to gift in a way that actually communicates this is the most I can do, not the least I can do within a budget. It communicates intimacy of knowledge, where you understand who that person is and what they want, and then the gift comes at a time when it's not expected, right? So it's not Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, birthdays, whatever else. And that method of gifting oftentimes enhances a relationship. And when being intentional with the language and the way you speak can oftentimes lead to a more consistent referral relationship.
Thank you for sharing that. I know you're a rock star in that area, so I had to bring it out because, of course, we are going to circle back to what we started with, that local growth formula. But Ross has a lot to offer, so I can't go too fast now. We know you're in the Google business ad game, right? When to use it and when not to use ads. Can you describe those scenarios for us?
Yeah, when we're looking at just out with ads, we want to look at a few things. First, we want to look at your budget. Do we actually have budget to spend? And if you're starting out and you don't have a strong cash flow infrastructure, or you really don't have any business at all yet, well, don't go straight to paid ads. Let's do some of the other infrastructural things along that local growth formula first. And just as a reminder, visibility, competency, social proof, referral, those four key ingredients. That said, if you've conquered at least a few different tactics within those four ingredient pillars, well, then move on to some paid ads. And the best way to engage in any paid ads channel is by defining a clear budget that you're willing to spend and test to validate that channel, and then move on to the next one. For instance, let's say Google Ads. You're just starting out. Set a budget for yourself and say, hey, we're going to build out a campaign that can satisfy $1,000 budget. We're going to measure that over 4 weeks, and what return we get will help us validate whether or not this channel is effective.
Incredible
Go from there.
advice. And I'm going to keep diving into that brain of yours because, again, he's a career learner. He's always striving to be better. Now, my turn to shout out a book. In Fanatical Prospecting, we talk about having to not only exhaust one way of sales gen, right? Whether it's the Google ads or it's LinkedIn messaging or whatever, you also have some skills with answering calls effectively, which allows you to close those leads. Give us some tips here, please.
It was a 21 stat, and we're in 2025 now, which is wild, but
Sure
something
is.
like 70% of phone calls to home service business owners went unanswered. It was some astronomical amount. So the very first tip on how we answer phone calls is simply to answer phone calls. Especially if we're a home service business, answer the call because it's probably somebody either looking for you to help them or looking for you to solve a problem in some way that they'll likely pay you money for. I think the next thing is when we are engaging and talking on phones, remember that this is the first interaction somebody's having with you, people that they may be doing business with. And so even though you're not in person, you are essentially talking to them face to face and shaking their hand and giving them the first look at what the culture of your company is like.
And that's the most important part. We have to be able to show up if someone's trying to get with us. Just because we don't prefer the phone doesn't mean other people don't prefer the phone. So thank you for sharing that. We've touched on some Google ads, now the phones. I love how you're a big advocate for local community support, local businesses. Ross, why growing local businesses? Why are they the most vital part of community revitalization?
Yeah, I think a measure of a company's relational health can oftentimes be evaluated by looking at the home service businesses that serve them. Typically, you'll find in strong, tight-knit communities, fantastic multi-generation painting companies, multi-generation roofing companies, HVAC, plumbing. These are the home service businesses that serve as the backbone of these local economies. And when those economies are thriving, well, you see really cool neighborhoods and local community centers and coffee shops and restaurants. And that's the type of thing that we want to support and promote.
I love that. Are there any particular ways someone could get involved in their communities more if they're not right now?
I think there's tons of ways, for you and I, we're always hoping that somebody's going to start a business. And I think starting a boring business, as they are wont to say now, a blue collar business, home service business is one of the best ways to just jump right in and serve the homeowners of your community.
I absolutely love that. Are there any particular community organizations that you're involved with so we could show some love while we're on the topic?
That's a good question. The local BNI chapters have been just really great supporters of Fencepost clients across the nation. There's a number of other more professional business type organizations in that same vein, but those are great places to start when it comes to just getting plugged in and seeing what other business owners are doing in the community.
Absolutely love the advice. Thank you for touching on some of these key points in business. I try to pack as much value as I can to these episodes, but as promised, everyone, we are circling back to his local growth formula. He has a proven method he created. First, how did you create this? What went into this process?
Yeah, good question. Again, man, maybe that's my whole life deal is like happenstance, right? I don't know. But I think when we're looking at what makes a really any business, but certainly a local business succeed, they have to have these things in place. If they don't have them in place, they're going to exist, but maybe they won't thrive. And if they're not thriving, like how long will they exist? And so if we break it down, visibility, competency, social proof, and referral, these are just the four essential components of any local business's growth strategy. Visibility, people have to know that you exist, right? Yes, sometimes that's a billboard. Sometimes that's being the local hardware store that just everybody goes to, and time is your visibility, time and existence, but you have to be visible. Competency, you've got to be as good or better than the competition. And when we say that, like you just can't be bad at what you do. You won't last very long. You have to be as good or better. Social proof, well, when you have great experiences with customers, those customers need to sing your praises and shout them from the rooftops. The rooftop we want them to shout from is a Google business listing, right? We want them to leave a Google review, a 5-star one, hopefully. And then the last piece is referral, which we talked about at the beginning. And that's just be intentional with your customer base. Incentivize them to sell for you, make them proud to bring business your way.
I absolutely love that. Do you have any particular ways that are good incentivizers to get people to be affiliates, be bigger supporters in your business? Obviously, financial offerings help, but is there anything else besides the obvious?
The best way is to really get into people's worlds and create great value for them. I found that giving away free value is oftentimes one of the best and biggest signals of authenticity that one can do. And that's what we try to practice here.
I have to agree with you there. I have recently started to do more tips and different free resources out on my website, whatever, and I've actually found that people are having more reach outs. We're doing a few more closings from giving free resources out there. Everyone, if some people are receptive to learning, doing things on their own, some need just someone else in their corner. There's no right way to do this, wrong way to do this. This is entrepreneurship. No textbook, no blueprint, but conversations like Ross today will help you get to where you want to go. We're not going to stay too humble here. You have your hands in another company. You're also the co-founder of an awesome coffee bar that specializes in local coffee. No surprise there. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, Trellis Coffee Bar started last year, a labor of love. Got a couple other partners in it, and we all live in the area that the coffee shop exists in. And really, it's an expression of our values and desire to be part of the community. In many ways, it's a further manifestation of the local growth formula in real life, right? We get to actually practice what we preach at Fencepost here at Trellis, and that's been a joy just to see the community's response to that. It's been a great joy to see how we talk all the time about how, well, these local businesses are the backbones of our communities. Well, we get to actually see that play out with Trellis. We get to see the people that have walked there from their homes, the businesses that stop in to meet, the students that come in to study. It's been a wonderful expression of what we believe and value.
I love that because ties right into being a central part of the community. I'm going to have to ask, which business is more fun to run? What are the biggest differences, maybe?
Oh man, tough question. We got to go off air. No, I'm just kidding.
Loaded question. I know, I
It
know.
is a loaded question. Yeah, I think there's different places for it. Frankly, I'm the only captain, the only cook in the kitchen here at Fencepost, and that is simpler in many ways, lonelier in others. On the Trellis side, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and we've got a great partnership, and we're able to do some cool things. We're actually able to do probably bigger local things in that regard because there's equal shared weight. We absolutely get to focus more on Augusta, which is where I'm from, Augusta, with Trellis. And that's beautiful and close to home with me. And on Fencepost, we get to do it at a less deep level just across the nation. So pros and cons, depends on the day.
I'm gonna have to ask, you're a golfer?
I dabble. It is not a top skill of mine, but we all try.
Recently treated myself for Christmas. I bought myself a set. This is the year I'm going to really learn to
Come
play.
on.
I swear, because I mean, obviously, the first time I went out, it was the most humbling time
Oh,
because
yeah.
you see quite a bit. But I really think I'm going to become a student of the game because I love the self-improvement aspect where I can gradually track my improvement, may not be competing with anybody else, excuse me, effectively for a little bit, but you'll get there. And just like entrepreneurship, you have to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. Yeah, I like being outside. My son loves being out there, and Augusta is just golf central.
Have you had a chance to actually go to the main event sometime?
A couple of times. Yeah, it's
Nice.
a joy. Growing up here, people don't realize like how much of a treat that is when you're in it. But then when you get a little older and you hear people talk about it that aren't from your town, you realize, oh, it's a cool deal. Cool deal.
Absolutely amazing. Well, I look forward to seeing all the great things you continue to unravel, but I'm not done with you just yet. I'd love to ask for some advice for some early stage entrepreneurs out there who may be realizing they have to wear a lot of hats. There's a lot going on. They don't know where to focus, what to do. What's some advice you can give them to wave the storm?
Yeah, I mean, if you already have a business and I would not say this advice is for aspiring entrepreneurs. If you've already made the plunge and you're working on creating something, I really do think going back to what we said in the beginning, know your audience, define that clearly, be dogmatic in the way that you approach them and go after them, and go serve them well, like create great value for them. But it starts with knowing who they are.
Very well put. And part of entrepreneurship is learning to find out these things, having conversations like with you. If you could have a conversation, Ross, with any entrepreneur, dead or alive, throughout history, who would your choice be?
Goodness, that's a question there. Oh man. I really love what, I mean, Donald Miller's one of my favorite authors, and I really love what he's done just with his business as a whole. And he's also got a wealth of knowledge that's been foundational for my business. And I think that that would be somebody I would love to have a conversation with and love to just share a meal with.
Say, let's delve deeper. You said we'll have a meal. Which restaurant are you bringing them to in Augusta?
Oh, in Augusta, we're big fans of Abel Brown. Abel Brown's a great, great spot. Be
All
proud
right.
to bring him there.
That's amazing. Well, is there anything now as we look into the future? We see where you're at now. You have two thriving businesses, one newer than the other, but all centralized on this community effort. What's next for you? Do you see both of these growing? Do you have your hands working on something else?
Yeah, we're looking to scale Fencepost. We're trying to have the local growth formula in at least one city in every state across the US. That's our 5-year plan. And so we're really gunning for that. I think on the Trellis side, we're still trying to figure that out. We're profitable. We've got a great thing going in our community. Do we need to scale? I don't know that we do, but we want to continue to refine the operation we have at our one location now and see where it takes us.
I love the ambition to expand. What are some of the perhaps nearest come to you cities that you're going to release and announce?
Oh man, it's hard to say. Like we're fishing in all 50 ponds. So whoever comes our way or we get on the calls first, we've got like a 60-mile non-compete. So it makes it
Hey, describe that for us a little bit. Let's talk about that is what that means.
well, if you're a home service provider, you don't really want the people that are getting you more business giving that same business to somebody in your market. And typically 60 miles is going to be enough distance in between to be able to, for a business owner to feel comfortable that we're not fishing too close together. I like that fishing analogy or metaphor. So we've got that 60-mile non-compete and, Georgia's pretty capped out, pretty full right now in a lot of different home service niches for us. So let's go talk to our neighbors, South Carolina, North Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, talk to all them.
So you're going that way. You're not thinking about coming down by me in Florida.
We've got a few in Florida. You're right. That's a good point. Well, come on. Let's do something.
That's amazing. Where in Florida abouts are you right now?
Orlando, Tampa, Clearwater. Yeah, we've got some spots.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. If you're ever out this way, you'll have to let me know. We'll grab a cup of coffee.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, well, right now I'm being a wimp. We've had some cold front come through from, I guess, the snowstorm out west, but cold for us isn't what it was when I grew up in New York. I don't know how I weathered
Your
the
tolerance had
storms.
dropped. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit, feeling like an old man, but we've touched on a lot here. Is there anything else that we didn't cover today that we can show some love to?
I'm thankful for the time. I think at the end of the day, what it's all about is creating value for our communities that we live in. And you can do that regardless of whether you are directly serving a local business or not, just by being a business owner in your community, or you have a great opportunity and responsibility to contribute to it.
I think that's amazing advice. And everyone, this is someone you're going to want to connect with. He's got a lot going on, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. Tell me about the comics behind you. I see Augusta in it. Everything's Augusta there. Where's that from? What is that?
Yeah, my one of my earliest mentors in the professional space, actually the guy who started the agency I started out with. He's an artist and loves anything 80s, 90s comics. So put on a cool conference here in Augusta and he did the art for it. And that's what you see behind me.
That's
Had him
pretty
framed.
cool. And
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty talented right there.
Oh yeah.
So looks like Augusta's got a lot going on, not just the golf we're known. He's got all of these ambitions, not just sprouting in Georgia, now expanding out of Georgia. So again, I have to congratulate you on your consistent work ethic and you're reaping the rewards now. It's great to see. I look forward to seeing how all this expands. Where can we find you online? Where can we find more on you and the company?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody out there is a home service business looking to expand their footprint and get more high quality leads, come check us out at fencepost.co and request a free video assessment. We'd be happy to give one to you. And then you can follow us on Instagram at fencepost.co.
Before we sign off, what led you to pick that name? I always love learning how names came about.
Yeah, I mean, think about it in the old timey white picket fence days, the place where, you know, your mailman, the milkman, the roofer, the painter, the plumber, the place where them and the homeowner would meet for the first time was right there at the fence post. Let them on in and shake a hand. So we want to be that first touch point between you and the rest of the world.
That's pretty cool. Like I said, I think it's always fascinating for me to learn what went into the names. And you did a great job in name selection. You've done a great job sustaining your business. And everyone, if you have dreams of owning companies in multiple sectors, use this as motivation. Walk with one foot in front of the other, of course, but you know when you can expand. He also highlighted, of course, going with comes natural, knowing your audience, how to not sound transactional. And again, I said before, the ambition of being president in all 50 states. Similar goals for me. Everyone, his name is Ross McDaniel. He's online at Fencepost. Be sure to check him out on social media. Fencepost.co, he said, right? Not .com.
That's right. .co.
Everyone, be sure to check that out. And the show is at That Entrepreneur Show on all social media, thatentrepreneurshow.com. Please leave us a rating, review, a comment for our guest today. Let him know how much you loved his show. My name is Vincent A. Lancey. I am on all social media at my name and vincentalancy.com. The show sponsors, one more time to show some love, we have johnford.com. He has his new empathy card set, his new empathy app for all you mental health champions out there. Coming Alive Podcast Production.com and TampaCW.com. That's Tampa Counseling and Wellness, run by the show's good friend, Dr. Carlos Garcia. I had a great time today recording today with Ross. So, Ross, thank you so much for joining That Entrepreneur Show.
Thanks so much for having me, Vincent. Look forward to hearing from you soon.
Of course, and everyone that tuned in today, thank you so much for tuning in, spending part of your week with us, and I wish everyone a successful week and weekend ahead. Ross, see you soon.
See ya.